Franka Soeria. Now, Miss Franka is a serial entrepreneur and the brain of modest fashion with her multiple global initiatives that accelerate this industry. Now, she believes that collaboration, inclusivity, and the idea of providing equal access to everyone, of course, with her diverse background in entertainment, journalism, entrepreneurship, she commits to helping the modest fashion industry become a sustainable industry. Now, her hashtag is Marca Marie. This is a fashion aggregator in Southeast Asia right here, and she promotes Southeast Asian talents, especially in Indonesia, on the global scene and connecting the region to the world through collaborations. She is the initiator of Modest Fashion projects, and among her creations are Modest Fashion Week's concept, Modest Fashion Founders Fund with Kemen Parekraf, Benang Project with UNHCR, Introducing Indonesia, Together International Virtual Modest Fashion Summit, Modest Fashion Day in Russia, and Together Royal Experience Istanbul. Now, her book, Random Thoughts of Franka, was published in 2020, and she's currently mentoring many, many brands. Now, she just recently won the Jakarta Award in 2020 for Empowerment and Equality for her contribution to the industry. She's been featured in many global medias, including the New York Times, National Dubai, Channel News Asia, Vogue Arabia, Arab News, Kuwait Times, Khalij Times, Vogue Italia, Channel News Asia, Financial Times, Vanity Fair. The list goes on and on. Many, many more. And she is actually mentioned as one of the most influential hijabs in Dubai. That is a title that's very, very fitting for the co-founder of the Council of Modest Fashion. This is a non-profit association for modest fashion with offices in Russia, CIS, Africa, Asia, Europe, and Latin America. And currently, she is mentoring hundreds of brands and working on her upcoming projects in movie and in the entertainment industries. Everybody, Miss Franka Soeria.
Hello. Assalamualaikum. Happy to be here. It's a very long bio, and I was like, okay, I should make it shorter.
But of course, these are things that you have done. So let us not be modest. This is the time where we do not be modest about the things that we've done. Now, Miss Franka, I will be straight to the point with you. Being the founder and the global head of Council for Modest Fashion, we consider you as the mother of Modest Fashion Week. I believe this has not been an easy journey for you. So please tell us about your journey and how important collaboration for modest fashion is for you in the fashion industry of today.
Well, modest fashion has been my life, I think, pretty much long. I think since 2011, like before I wear hijab, I started to find, modest fashion movement, and then I started to be interested, and then I moved to Turkey, and then I wear my hijab and all, and then, I was a journalist before, and I create so much project. I already in entertainment, creating a lot of projects, so I like to see a problem and then try to find a solution. So then what I find is, okay, modest fashion is very diverse in different country, and then I have been thinking how to make this modest fashion more famous and be accepted globally. What the kid that is outside of the table of fashion, and I started to make a concept first, modest fashion week, right? And then I said we need to use term modest fashion. Why? So people can see first the beauty of covering, then after that they can find out more. right? And then it goes on, and then I say, okay, Fashion Week only is not enough. We need to make like a big alliance around the world. So I make Council of Modest Fashion because I see, every country have different challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So they need different solution, and it cannot come from one person or one source. So that's why we create a global alliance in different country. What we can do? Okay, this country is Islamophobic. This country is more like, needs to be shaped more in terms of design. Those kind of stuff. So I think it's a beautiful idea. One, because it's not centered on one group. We some sort of kind of connect the power that we have
Mm-hmm.
through Modest Fashion Week. We get the attention of the world. People knows us. Yes, it becomes the voice. Oh, people knows about modest fashion. Yes, but it's not enough because other country has a lot of talents as well.
Yeah.
And then maybe they don't have the funding to join a fashion show, right? Or maybe what they need is not a fashion show. They need more about mentorship. They need more about the business side of it.
Yeah.
So we try to create solutions, and it's like from different heads. So that's why it's the beauty of it. So like Modest Fashion Week is just a start, but from there we some sort of like pivoting a lot, channeling a lot
Mm.
through different projects. You're right. And then of course always think about the commercial side, how to make people more interesting in modest fashion,
Yes.
in a popular area, in also education area. So it's like it's interesting. So many things we need to do. It's not only about fashion show. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Mm. That's true. When you think about it, fashion is about passion, but there is a business side to it in order for it to be sustainable as we want it to be. Because it has to be sustainable fashion. And everybody, I think everybody has to understand that it's not just the passion and the work that you put into it, it also has a side for growth, especially if more and more designers are getting into modest fashion. Now, in the many years that you've been doing this since 2016, if I'm not mistaken. The first Istanbul Modest Fashion Week was in 2016. Now, this served as a catalyst for modest fashion to be injected into mainstream. And we have you to thank for that. But we have 2016 is a long way from 2023. How has your vision of the whole modest fashion industry changed all throughout the years?
Yeah, in the past, the thing is about how to show ourselves, right? How to make people notice us, right? And then it has
Mhm.
the plus and the minus. The plus, okay, we get the attention. Everyone finally knows that there is a style of covering, which is beautiful. It's not less beauty than the one that is the opposite, right? But after
Mm.
what happened, everyone wants to jump in to do modest fashion, right? Maybe some of them have good intentions, some of them is not, right?
Mhm.
So that's why in the end, the the object is the creator, the designers, the designers actually, right? The brands, because
Mhm.
before the hype, they already, this is their life already, right? So right now it's more about how to shift from only about the fame and the thing, but more about the empowering the brands because they do have difficulties. For example, how they can compete with the mainstream brand. How can they
Yes.
get a better platform to sell, right? So those
Yes.
things from the getting the attention to providing solution is a very long journey because as like a kid we grow up and we started to be wiser. So that's why I say
Mm.
we need to stop on modest fashion as a tools to be famous. it's famous, yes, but how about the business? Can you do a collaboration between countries to do business, to make the designer stronger, right? So it's not
Yes.
about who become the authority of modest fashion, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
about become the most famous anymore. I think it's an old, that's very, very old story. So
Mm.
the story is different. That's what,
Yes.
yeah.
The evolution of it all. Um, in the many countries that you've been to,
Mm-hmm.
which country has the most number of designers when it comes to modest fashion?
I can say there is two country. For sure, Indonesia is so much. I think thousands of it, and then Turkey is amazing. Turkey, you have a lot of very very strong brands.
Mm.
The one that you know in Turkey, like strong brands. What I'm saying is more like the business side of it. Like maybe you don't hear their name, but they are selling millions of pieces every month. Like I'm a part also right now of a Turkish Business Association. It's called
Mm.
Musia. So like they're talking a very huge numbers.
Yeah.
So in some countries it's so small. Like when I talked last time with a brand from a country, and she said I make this number for her. But you know when I compare with Turkey or some of the ones also over here, it's very different. So also
Mm.
like what I learned, fame doesn't mean also business as well.
Yeah.
A lot of famous brands also are suffering basically. A lot of brands that you never heard of them, they're making super good business. So I think the challenge is more like how to become famous and also profiting as well, because
Yes.
fashion is not about a show. In the end, it's about business. You know what I mean,
Yes.
right?
We all have to find a way to, of course, make this sustainable for everybody. Um, when it comes to helping other women, we were on Facebook with Miss Carmen earlier, and she said the same thing. The modest fashion industry is very hush hush. It isn't as open as all other kinds of fashion, but it is making billions and billions
Yeah.
because more and more women are seeing that it is a way to protect themselves and to protect their men as well from having different and lewd thoughts. And this is how we empower ourselves. We make sure that we protect each other in this sense. Now, Miss Franca,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of collaborations do you think the modest fashion industry needs for its future?
I think right now is we think more about bringing solutions to brands.
Mhm.
Like as I said, what we are trying to do is creating a puzzle, and then try to fit in one another.
Mhm.
Because like for example, there are some country which market is very limited and they want to expand
Yes.
country, but they don't know how. Right? What they need is more like a safe space where they can profiting, they can collaborate, but it's both mutually financially benefiting each other. It's so much important collaboration. That's what I'm trying to build with Council of Modest Fashion. Yeah, so and then for them to know which initiative is effective or not, like some sort of mapping. That's why actually I we are making a program called Modest Fashion 100. So we are
Mhm.
to choose the best 100 brands worldwide as a one globalist, because we don't know each other in terms of
Yes.
cross-country relation. For example, when we talk about Algeria, do you know which brand is the biggest in Algeria? You cannot just find it by Googling.
Mhm.
Google divine, like numbers doesn't divine as well. A lot of strong brands, they are not really strong in Facebook or Instagram, those kind of thing, because they are busy doing business. So we are trying to wrap up the list, and then to show to the world that, okay, this is the brand that you need to watch out to check. Okay, maybe this one is good in terms of innovation, this one is good in terms of values, sustainable things, this one is super good in terms of businesses, those kind of things. I think we just need to, to build something as a directory,
Diversifying.
as a
Yes.
directory, because it's a jungle out there. If you want to go out, you don't know which one. You try to Google, it doesn't work, because a lot of the news misleading as well. So that's what we are doing. So with the council now, we started to make something more like maybe boring thing, because we do researching, we talk with people, and then, but you can also nominate your own brand. So go to www.theconf.com and then /modest fashion100. You can go there, and then if you think that your brand is good or you do something amazing for your community, you can, you can knock our door, and then for sure, we're gonna take look, and then, be on the list if it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about charity projects? I mean, modest fashion, and I believe you work with several big brands. Just out of curiosity, what is the biggest brand that you've worked for or you've worked with to date?
The biggest brand, I work with the biggest brand, most of them. So I don't want to mention the name, but inshallah, I mean, I have been helping behind the scene. I like it so much to be behind the scene. I'm not the kind of person like, okay, be on the spotlight, that kind of thing. Because I'm actually someone who like to think. So I have a lot. I have a lot already. I mean, even like when there is a mainstream brands, they want to do modest section, let's say a very popular brand around the world, and then they contact me and ask what to do. And then first what I say, okay, don't just go to shortcut, just get the model, the most famous model in modest, and then you take as a base. It's not enough. I say you need to take the talent, the designer, and then ask their opinion or collaborate, and then, I think there are some there is one a big collaboration in the past with one of the sports where which using modest talents to create and design. I think that's so important, because the brand knows what the customer needs.
Yes.
For example, if you create like a burkini, for example, like a swimsuit for hijabi, but you make it very tight and then it doesn't fit. And then I said, in the end, you're wasting your money, because rather than doing that, you can just listen to the brands and then try to do something together so it fit the market. So it's not just like, okay, there is the money, let me make a modest collection, and then in the end you don't even know that a Muslim cannot wear such very tight. It's covered, yes, super tight.
Appropriateness, yes.
Or like that.
Miss Franka, I know you see so many designers and you've helped them, but in your own design, in your own opinion, what do you look for most when you create your line? Do you look for color? Do you look for pattern, prints? Or do you look for versatility in cloth? What do you look for?
I think first is identity is so important, because right now I think people more like, okay, I want to sell and this brand is sell, let me copy. That's it. This is enough. Sometimes we need to show more originality, and then culture is okay, but culture that can blend with universality is so important, because people will wear it every day. And then second is quality is so important as well. I am a minimalist person. Basically, I like to mix and match. That's why I say right now sustainable fashion is very trendy, right? And
Mm.
then I say sustainable fashion. When you talk about sustainable fashion, people think more about color has to be from the plants whatsoever. Very difficult. But I said, let's make it easy. First, make a product that can be mix and match, so you don't
Mhm.
need to buy too much, or whatever you buy is an investment. So,
Mm.
but the quality has to be good because the clothes has to live longer, right? You
Yes.
expect to live longer. It's not
Yeah.
like trendy stuff that the button fall off. So this is the thing that I have been talking. So rather than just chasing the trends all the time, creating it, just create clothes that is line lasting. So like people will think it's as investment. So it's that,
Yes.
yeah.
Now we all know modest fashion isn't just for women. It's also for men.
Mhm.
Now, do you personally see yourself creating a collaboration, or do you see yourself creating a fashion run with both modest fashion for men and women?
For runway, yes, I talked even yesterday. So there is a brand, a men's brand, who want to do a fashion event in Qatar, and
Mm.
for myself, I already opened opportunities a lot. I said I can accept men's wear, but very less men's brand who wants to register. So that's why I like this one from Qatar. I said, okay, let's do a solo show, and then I will support you with all my resources. So basically,
Oh.
I because not all countries are aware of this because men's modest is more like influenced by culture. For example, South Asia, they wear this kurta, those kind of thing, all right. And then
Mhm.
in Middle East, Saudi, they wear. But in some other countries, they don't wear. In Indonesia, yes, they wear, and the way they look is different. It's more the color is different. The
Mm.
color is
The
different
color,
with
yeah.
people. So it's very different, and it's more what I can say more traditionally influenced than the
Mm.
women's. So they don't really speak yet the language of universality. So like, but right now there are quite a lot of brands started to create something
Mm.
universality. They put infuse a little bit culture, they infuse a little bit function, and it's so beautiful. So I support these things as well. In my last event, it's the virtual event. I have a couple of modest menswear, and they sell very good because very less to find menswear. It's not too much. Yes.
Wow. You are everywhere.
Sorry. I talk
Miss.
too much. It's a my topic. So when I talk like boom boom boom.
No, I
Sorry.
mean, it's amazing because when I say you are everywhere, I mean you are one of those Wonder Women that do everything. You know, from
Uh,
print to creation to, of course, most important, I think, for you is you helping other people becoming the better version, the better designer of themselves when it comes to modest fashion. And so, with this said, Miss Franca,
mhm.
what kind of collaborations do you think modest fashion industry needs in the future in order for it to be sustainable?
what what is the collaboration? I guess it's more like we need to think more about beside the hype. After
Mm.
gone, what is it? After the hype is gone, what is it? Like we need to think more about how we can cross collaborate,
Yes.
especially in terms of selling, right? Because the market is actually very huge, but if everyone is trying to protect their own market, it's kind of a problem as well. Like, because everyone wants to expand, but everyone wanna protect their own market. Challenging. That's why I keep on saying why we don't some sort of creating together place where
Yes.
sell cross country, and then you know that kind of thing. That is actually my next dream is to make like that,
Mhm.
like multi brand stores in worldwide to sell and to be the voice, because after the hype, for example, there is something modest fashion, and when they go to the mall, they see the product, right? So it can convert to sales, or when they go
Mm.
to the e-commerces, they see all these products,
E-commerce. Yes,
right?
yes.
I think it's when we support the brands to be strong, it means we support the industry to be strong.
Yes.
So like that. So when there is something good project, I always try to share as well to the network to say, okay, this is a good, because not all projects are good.
Yes.
A lot of bad project as well. This is what we need to know, you know,
We
right?
need to differentiate the good from the bad.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there are people who constantly try to manipulate us into thinking that they're helping us
Mm-hmm.
when actually they're not.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
just curious and trying to see what we have in store.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you've had your share of this kind of people, and I'm just glad that someone is speaking up. You
Yeah.
know, people are starting to see, people are starting to speak up about it. People are finally learning that fashion isn't just based on colors, or it isn't just based on patterns and prints. It is also how you conduct yourself with dignity and with pride, and
Yeah.
how you bring yourself while you walk down that aisle. It's
Mm-hmm.
not so much the clothes, it's your ability to take those pieces of clothing and to make it work beautifully.
Yeah. Maybe one thing that I want to add, like I think modest fashion kind of give the opportunity for the brands coming from, not too strong country to be known, because for a long time mainstream fashion, the fashion news is always full with the brands that coming from the West, those kind of stuff. So we have
Yes,
a voice to do that.
definitely.
But the problem is now we need to be more uh, confident about ourselves, because a lot of mainstream experts trying to jump in modest fashion, but actually they don't understand anything about modest fashion, but they come and say, hey, I know better, this is
Mm.
how you do better. And for me, when I always say, what do you mean? We have been doing this even before the buzz, and we know what we are doing.
That's true.
Right? We just need a better voices, presentation, connectivity, you know, those kind of stuff. So I went to the Middle East, and then I see all experts from the West. What happened? I say, actually, their design is very modern. Yeah, they say, Franka, actually, we have been collaborating with all this, but there is no monetizing whatsoever. I said, of course,
Mm.
because approach is different. Modest fashion approach is different.
Yes.
That's why I say we need this council, we need this unity, because we are different. We shouldn't be insecure by